Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about the expert democracy, so let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, I have this guy, or I've always had this guy on my team that seems to get whatever he wants. How can I convince my team that his ideas aren't so good? So this is a fair question. The short answer is that you need to have a voice that is heavier, that weighs heavier than that other person. And this is where the expert democracy, as I like to call it, comes into play. So to just give you a walkthrough of what I mean when I say expert democracy, the way that programming works, or the way that IT in generally works, is that whoever is perceived to have the highest seniority within a company. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are an expert of everything programming, but you have the highest perceived value within the domain that you are working in. You may have been working at that company for quite some time, etc., etc. That's not always the case. It really comes down to the subjective gut feeling people have about you, their perception of you, if you will. So if you are perceived to be a super senior developer who has most of the answers, it is trivial for you to get what you want within an office culture, because basically everybody is already on board with the idea that you probably know best. It's probably just best that whatever you say goes, because you have proven yourself in some fashion, or you don't even have to do that. They just have to believe that this is the case. So if you are on the other side of an opinion with another opinion in the expert democracy, you will lose every single time if you have such an individual in a group. It doesn't really matter how much I have had requirements set on me by managers, and I've just kept on telling them that this is not sustainable. One of the personal development tasks that I was going to go through with my previous manager was that he wanted me to create like presentations and like sell ideas and so forth, and I kept on saying, well, if you force me to do this, it's going to take me forever to convince anybody that this is a good idea. And he said, yeah, but this is what sales does. I mean, this is what you have to do. And I go, yeah, that's great. The problem is that you're not paying me to be a sales representative. I don't have an entire week or more, most likely, to gather all of the facts and all of the information and so forth, because it's unsustainable. It is like the battle between religion and science, whereas the time it takes to make an argument in a scientific manner might take decades, while as religion can do it in 5 minutes. It's the same principle. Like if one person comes into a room and they are already so respected that all they have to do is basically say whatever they want, and people are kind of already on board, and you in this case, well, and I in the other case, have to sit through, like, arm myself with facts, do research, and like put up PowerPoint presentations and sales pitches and all that stuff. And you may not even in that scenario actually win that argument. The investment is too great in comparison to, most people will not even bother with such a thing unless, as I said, they're a sales representative or something like that, and they actually get paid to do this. So the way that I have solved this before, because I have solved this, I have won this battle in the expert democracy, is through two things. Basically it comes down to two things. You need to lower the public opinion of your adversary, or this person who always gets what he or she wants, and you need to raise your own. This is what it comes down to. You basically have to either prove that you are correct, or you have to be the expert within the expert democracy. And the way that you do this is that and you need to be a little bit honest here, because it might just be that you have an opinion that may not be in line with, just because you have a difference of opinion doesn't necessarily mean that it's the whole truth. If we're completely honest here, that this other individual is wrong or has done something bad or so forth. They might just actually want to do things in a different way from how you want to do them. And that's personal maturity right there. You need to ask yourself if the problem is that things are not working out, or the problem is that you don't like what's happening, but it is actually working, and that's on you. But what you should be doing if you want to change the balance of power in the expert democracy is to point out and highlight every single problem and the delays and the pain and the frustration that comes from certain decisions made within the company. Now, these decisions are usually a result, or rather these problems that you have are usually a result of these sorts of decisions that this person most likely has been involved in making. Now, you never ever say something like, oh, it's this person's fault or it's that person's fault. You don't point blame at anybody. You just highlight the issues because these are issues, and people, as long as they get made aware of these issues, will start to connect the dots themselves. They will make the conclusions for you. You don't actually have to point your finger at anybody who's responsible because people are already going to do that internally. And it's going to start lowering the public opinion of this expert within your group. The other thing that you need to do is that you need to consistently impress and deliver on your end. You basically have to make decisions on the smaller decisions, or you have to take initiative on your end and deliver on the promises that you have made in such a fashion that people are happy with the outcome. That's basically it. So it's basic politics. You need to cripple your enemy and raise your own status within the democracy. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you have an issue with a team member who seems to always get what they want and you can't ever get anything through, that is most likely because the expert democracy is not in your favor. This person has some level of influence or something like that that makes it trivial for them to make any suggestion about pretty much anything, and the vast majority will either listen to this person or they will be apathetic and they don't actually care, so they have kind of free range to do whatever they want. And it doesn't really matter which it is because the results are the same. They do whatever they want. And in order to fix this, you need to make people aware, like really aware, because some of the outcomes, like some of the problems that may arise from the decisions that this person is making may not be something that they notice immediately. It might take months for this to actually happen, but then when the problem is actually there, they're really frustrated with the problem, but they have forgotten who caused it in the first place or who made the decision and what decision that was. And then and that's the sort of thing that you need to highlight as much as humanly possible, even to stakeholders. Like if you talk about if these things are causing bugs or slowing down development velocity, these sorts of things, you can actually even measure this sort of thing. And that's what you need to do in order to lower the power of this person, because at some point they're going to lose all credibility if they keep on fucking up enough. And on the other side of things, you need to provide value to the company and to your coworkers. You need to prove that you have the decisions and the opinions that make a positive change. That's pretty much it. So cripple the credibility of this person by showing them the mistakes that this person is making, and try to raise yourself up by improving things within the workplace or something like that. But as I said, be very honest about this, because it might be that this person actually has some really good ideas. It's just that you don't like this exact approach. And then this is not really the right thing to do, if you ask me. Then it's a personal issue that you need to deal with. Have a great day.